Hello, LinkedIn fam. This is Chris Schwagel, CEO and founder of Infinite Skies. I'm here with my main man, Sam Sells. How are you today, Sam?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm doing good too, man. It's currently hailing right now, so I don't know if you can hear that or not. So I'm grateful to be having a house right now. And housing is something we have in common, Sam, because we
Yeah.
first met because you're a real estate investor, man. So you have a really interesting story. So give us the nickel tour here about you, Sam.
Yeah, great. Nickel tour is, I'll try to be brief. So, grew up American poor, took baths and horse troughs, didn't have running water or power at certain points in my life. Rural Oklahoma, various places, used to hang out with the Native Americans from their, res right next door to us. Our house, we used to just walk down and hang out. Life was interesting. Loved it. And you know, moved to Texas, went to high school, graduated, tried to get into college, had no money, got a job, worked at like a pawn shop, did whatever I could, Chick-fil-A before it was a fad, and then you know, decided to join the military. Was a firefighter and started flipping homes in the early 2000s on my off time with partners, and that went well. And then the crash 2008 happened, and we did fine. I was flipping homes for buying homes in San Antonio for 50K a piece. And so when the crash happened, instead of selling them for 130 grand, we were selling them for 110 grand. So we
Mm.
lost 20%, but we've still doubled the money, so we were good. Um, but yeah, um, went full time active duty again, commercial real into as an officer in the Air Force. Became a hospital administrator, became a medical planner. Worked with a lot of foreign militaries, foreign governments, helping them create sustainable healthcare systems. Built 100-bed, 200-bed healthcare facilities in West Africa. Rebuilt a 500-bed facility in South Korea or Republic of Korea. And worked with a lot of other countries, Nepal, Afghanistan, all kinds of places, doing all kinds of things. Just a lot of fun, a lot of vigor, but just spent a lot of time away from home. So it's been about 4 years on the road, collectively over a 10-year period, and just kind of wore me down. So yeah, long story short, decided that either I was going to have to buy 56 single family homes or do something really different to gain control of my life and stay home as much as I wanted. And lo and behold, what I did was found commercial real estate, and we got into it, ran out of capital after our first couple of deals, learned about syndication and partnerships and joint ventures and institutional partners. And since then, we've done 20, I don't know, 24 deals. A lot of syndications, a lot of, not a lot of, but some stuff with institutional partners where they come in with big checks, and we are the operators for them. And yeah, and now we've launched a fund, impact fund. We're focused on impact investing, affordable housing, making a difference with our time and our money, but also making a profit, because that's what I was doing in healthcare. Was working with all these, you know, developing nations, helping them to create sustainable healthcare systems, and profit makes a difference. So yeah, that's the 10-cent tour, anyways.
Holy crap, Sam. So you're somewhere between 120 and 150 years old, just from that bio, right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of different things. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And so I think that what you're trying to say is you've earned the right to talk about mindset and experience and transformation and things like that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I think so. I've definitely changed a lot in my life, and I even have a mindset or a life coach who helps me do more because I've never been content. When you're talking to a president of another country or ambassadors or others, you have to present yourself one way, and when you're talking to investors, you present yourself another way. When you're sending a request for $1 billion to the Office of Manpower and Budget and Congress, and getting the HASC, SAC, SASC committees to approve that $1 billion budget, Sam Sells has got to present himself a different way to them. And so mindset has been very important to me. Results are, of course, extremely important, but you can't get there unless you do something unique to prepare yourself and get there.
That's incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about like what you do to prep your mindset? Like a $500 million contract or whatever, you're not just showing up in board shorts, you know?
No.
Like what do you do ahead of time to like prep yourself and for you what you're working on now with mindset?
Yeah, it's interesting. So um, I remember my boss came to me and said, so this is 2017, and he said, Sam, your skill sets are very, very unique. You've done a lot of interesting things. The Air Force wants this, not the Air Force, the military, DoD wants this 500-bed contingency hospital, largest wartime hospital on the planet for America. And they need somebody to spearhead this project, to build out a whole bunch of teams that lead all the conversations, and to create a plan to get this $62 million rehab completed and this hospital back into operations. And my son and wife just got home this morning. But so
That's awesome. Life happens,
yeah,
man.
life happens. Yeah, there's been a time at the beach. So we're, he comes to me and is like, Sam, I think you're the guy.
Mhm.
And just an incredible leader at this large hospital that I worked at. And I said, okay, what do you want done? He said, I'm going to take a degree. I'm going to show you what I need to get done. And then if you could just do it, that'd be great. Cool. And so in that mindset, you're like, holy smoke. So how do I lead this group of people and do all these things? And so son just hurt himself.
Oh, bummer.
So
Life really happens, man.
yeah, life really happens.
Mhm.
Can you hear him or am I okay?
Yeah, we can hear him a little bit, but it's all right. You can keep going, Sam. Yeah.
So my wife just got him. I guess he just tripped to hit the counter. Anyhow, so life. In in that moment, I was just thinking to myself, who am I? And we all
Yeah.
have imposter syndrome, and that never goes away. Yeah, I've done these things. I've, you know, worked with the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of State, and I've worked with, Ambassador Powers, Man of Powers, and a lot of these other people. Like how do you just say, okay, I'm going to go take on this role and lead this group of people, and I'm going to build a team and take on this massive project that's of extreme strategic importance to the nation. And at the end of the day, it's like, if not me,
Mhm.
who else is going to do it?
Mhm.
And um, if it's going to be me, who do I need to help me
Mhm.
make sure it gets done? There's a book, Who Not How. So I've thought about this for years and years, and I found the book. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is what I do too. It's like, I don't know how to get that thing done, but I know who does,
Mhm.
and I know how to work with them. And so, uh, you know, accomplishing great things, it's just same with little things. It's just little steps. And at the end of the day, you're like, I don't know how in the world I'm going to be successful with this thing, but this morning I need to put my boots on
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
get my uniform, or I need to get on my clothes. And that's what I'm going to focus on right now. And I'm going to just walk into this place, and I'm going to listen to the voice. I'm going to listen to, you know, uh, that voice that says I can do it, and let's go. And I'm going to go, and I'm just going to do it. And instead of sitting back and huddling and running for fear and climbing in a closet and closing the door and pretending the world is, not beckoning for you to come and do something. At the end of the day, it's just going and doing it.
Mhm.
And you do it afraid. I've done plenty of things just scared out of my mind,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I just did it and gave it my best because that's all we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think what you're really focusing on now is like of the 4 C's of mental toughness, you really highlighted control. You can control what you can control. And what you can control is your emotions and what you put into it, your effort. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But you gotta stick with what you can control. I know that for sure. I was doing that last night. In fact, today I'm a little groggy because it's hailing and it was gonna be storming today, and I'm doing this, like, 75 hard thing, and so I had to get out yesterday, and I started biking, and then there's just, like, a rhythmic power, I think, in just cycling and, like, looking down and just seeing your legs just keep going. Like, of all the things in the world that
Yeah.
are happening, good and bad, I can control the fact that my legs are gonna keep moving. And I think that's just there's something to be said about the simplicity of that and the beauty of that, but also the power in doing that. And so how do you're growing a ton, and we talk with your investment group. Sometimes you've had me in there for the mindset Mondays and things like that. How do you keep your core values involved in all of the business stuff that you're doing?
This is a great question. We set up the business with a specific intent, and that specific intent was to create impact and make money doing it. So if you start out from the very beginning of this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do, then no matter what comes, you can remember the vision, the drive, the goal, where you want to end up, and then you just keep going, right? And in the business world, it is not common to find people who want to make a difference and make money. It's very common to find people who want to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need money. Money enables us to do the things that we do, right? We're using computers that we paid for. Somebody's making money, and I'm glad they're making money because if not, they wouldn't make any more computers. If the government was in charge of making computers, they would all be terrible because it wasn't about making money or it wasn't about doing efficiency. It wasn't about making a great product. It was just about making something that checked the box, and now I can go home. So, like, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that system. I honor that system. Is a perfect no, but it works. So back to your question is
How do
we
you how
set
do you
ourselves
yeah,
up
how
from
do
the
you have your
beginning.
core
Yeah.
values in your businesses?
So that's one way to set it up from the beginning that way. In the beginning, we also took in investors. All money is green. It all spins the same way. False. That's not
Mm,
true. Um, we want investors who share our vision of creating a difference in the world and have impact. And people like that are so much easier to work with because they share our same values. When they call me, they text me and say, "Hey, Sam, what's going on with this project?" I'm like, "Hey, look, great. We bought this heavily distressed asset. All these things are happening, but some plumbing under the ground exploded, and we're fixing
mm,
that. But that just put us back, a couple of weeks. Okay, cool. We understand. They understand that we're going into an asset that we know is going to have problems. We just don't know what the problems are going to be.
mhm,
Plumbing is probably going to be a problem. And so we budget for those things. We have reserves for those things. We just don't always know what they are. And so investors who share that vision with us can go on that journey with us and they're fine. They're not stressed out. Investors who only want a rate of return, they get stressed out about all the little things because, oh my goodness, is that going to hurt how much money I get to take home? You
mm.
know, and that just, it doesn't align well for us. And I don't want to talk about, I mean, we talk about money all the time, but I want to talk about the impact, improvement, change of the world, how it changed the property. Yes, NOI tripled. Yes, we doubled occupancy. Yes, we did those things, but humans are more important than money to us. And so we also want to share the story of Cindy who had cancer, couldn't make her payments, and we got her covered for 2 months by working with nonprofits and so forth. Like that's true impact. Yes, did it improve our profitability? Yeah, because we didn't have to evict her and lose money and blah 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 blah. It's we made a difference. We're good stewards. It's the whole package to us. So if investors now, we only take on investors who share that whole package view of society and want to make a difference and want to make money in the process.
Awesome. Awesome. And
And
so
then
it's
one more thing, sorry, to
yeah,
that point.
please.
So we also coach and we teach other syndicators how to get started and so forth. We only take on students who share a similar vision. They don't have to start an impact investing company, although many of them have
Mhm.
created their own impact investing, or they now incorporate, hey, I want to help homeless veterans, or I want to help this. And we teach them how to work with nonprofits, how to work with those things and still make their deals profitable and successful. And so you can be like you are, Chris, like you're a wonderful human being. You want to improve lives, but you also need to make money and pay for the bills and grow. And so we like working with people like you and others who do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because I mean, my helicopter didn't pay for itself,
No.
and who knows? But it is really important to remember kind of our roots and like you were saying, growing up without water and things like that, like that. No matter where we get to, it's a result of other people's efforts. It's a result of being a part of a community and other people. So when you were growing up, were you always kind of badass? I mean, were you like always like determined to do stuff and like gritty?
I was always determined to do stuff. Uh,
Okay.
Grit happened because I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And my determination to achieve, to overcome, was never more than temporarily halted by sadness or
Mm.
distress or despair that I really messed something up. And I just
So you
got back
always
up
had the
and kept going.
mindset that like if you're learning, you can never fail. Has that been something that's been with you?
Uh, I've always had the mindset that failure is going to happen, but it doesn't need to be ultimate.
Mm.
It's only ultimate if you quit. And sometimes we do need to quit, right? Like sometimes we're doing the wrong thing and we got to quit or we got to pivot. Like stop doing that thing and do something different, right? And that's good. That's the learning process. I've learned that I pivot a lot. And so now I've learned to every 3 or 4 months, I pause, look at my business, look at what we're doing, and we pivot as needed. So if this thing isn't working, is it one, because we're doing the wrong thing, or two, are we doing it wrong? And if either one of those applies, we change, we pivot, try it again for 90 days. If it's wrong, and we just pivot. We just keep pivoting and keep moving.
Mhm.
And then that enables us to be flexible and remain entrepreneurial and continue to grow and make a difference. We chose a path that's very difficult. It's very hard to make a profit and do good at the same time. At least the way that we do it. We took on a hard task, but when it works, it's fantastic. And it's just taken us years to figure it out. And now we
Mm.
know how to make it work and make it profitable, and we're doing it.
That's incredible, man. It's so fun to see you guys grow. And let's pretend that this is a mindset Monday and I'm in the Zoom with you or I'm one of your students.
Mhm.
What is something that I could think of differently or do differently or start to be differently to get myself starting? Because I think that's the big thing that we see a lot of people wanting to get into syndication. How do I just get started? What what's your advice there?
So there's a thing called state of being. Okay. Who we are being today. We become somebody um, that gets certain types of results before we get those results. Okay. If you want to become a multimillionaire, you need to think like a multimillionaire. You need to act like a multimillionaire. And I'm not talking about the fake posers on YouTube and TikTok who rent Lambos, from Turo and park in front of somebody else's house and pretend it's their house and their Lambo so they can get likes and subscribes. What I'm talking about is real, true wealth, generational wealth We need to think differently. We need to act differently. We need to become that person who does those types of things, who acquires that type of knowledge, who seeks after that growth. And as we become that person, then those results happen. Knowledge is fantastic. You go to college and you learn knowledge, but you make no money in college unless you start taking knowledge and putting it into action.
Mm.
When you get out of college, you go to work and you're like, this is all action and I'm learning and now I'm starting to get results.
Mm.
All right. So knowledge plus action equals results. We got to get knowledge is the learning how to be that person. Action is the becoming that person who makes those decisions, who does those things. And then results, you get the results. There are plenty of syndication programs out there who will teach you the knowledge. You want to, if you're going to join a program, you want to join a program that teaches you not only how to think, how to learn, and what to learn. You need a program that's going to teach you how to do and become, and then help you with the results, right? So like when I joined you, Chris, and we went through that mindset thing, we talked about, okay, like you would ask us, okay, so what are you doing differently now? Or how have you changed? How do you feel about that thing now versus how you felt about it before? And it was great seeing everyone say, oh, well, I think about it differently now. The thing is if you learn something and then you don't go employ it, then what the heck over, like, what's going on? You need to go deploy or employ that knowledge and execute. And so if you're brand new and you want to learn how to syndicate, go learn. Plenty of books will teach you the basics of how to do it, but you're not one until you do it.
Mm. Very well said, Sam. This is like narrative identity theory for all of us psychology geeks out there, like to a T. And you can go to school and you can get degrees in psychology, like I've done. So you don't have to do it. I did it for you. And learn about narrative identity theory, which is basically your subconscious tells you a whole bunch of stories about who you are because it's been playing these same thoughts over and over about who you are. So if you want to make a change, you have to tell yourself that you are different. But then your eyes are looking around at your environment and you have to take action that supports that new identity you're telling yourself. And if you're not taking action, then your subconscious is immediately going to say, nope, we're not a syndicator because we're not doing what syndicators do. So, what, like, very well said. That was awesome, man. If you don't take action, you're not going to do anything. You know, I
Yep.
think books and podcasts, these LinkedIn lives and all that kind of crap, they're a crutch for most people. You got to get out there and do it. That's how you learn. And I'm glad you brought up our group because, hey, be honest, between just me and you right now, that was the worst group in the history of Earth, wasn't it?
Your
That,
first
I
one's
mean, it was awful.
always terrible, right? Like this is why you do it. You have to start somewhere and you have to understand that it's not going to be the best. But that's the point, is that you started. My first syndications back in 2000, I don't know, 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, my very first syndication was my worst one. Right?
Mm,
It just was. But I did it and it led to the next one and the next one. The way we do things now is way better than the way we did things back then. And it's like, why would you judge yourself based off where you're going to be in 10 years and say, well, my first one's going to be terrible? I know it. And the answer is yes.
mhm,
Yes, Chris, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but it was the worst one that you ever will do,
mhm.
because you learn and you get better and you get better. But you have to take the first step. If you don't, you get nothing. You just need to understand that it's going to be your worst one. Your first podcast is your worst one,
Mhm.
right? Do it
Yeah,
while
you have
nobody
to.
else is listening. You have
Right.
to.
It inevitably has to be, right? It has to be. So just go through it. You can't go around it. You have to go through it. Oh, hey, we live in Minnesota here, so we have the headwaters of the Mississippi River. That's like
Mhm.
something we're very proud of. It's a rite of passage to like jump across the pebbles, the stones, that turn Lake Itasca into this little brook of Mississippi River. And there's two ways to do it. One, you can try really hard not to get wet and tiptoe around on it. And the second is to just get your feet wet and just walk across. And all the people who try to tiptoe, those are the people you got to watch, because half of them are going to end up falling completely into the water. You have to just get a little wet, to like go through it. But either way, you can get a Dippin' Dots, like at the ranger station, you're all good. So I'm glad we got that off our chest. We got to talk about it. So you're in syndication, you're in commercial real estate, all this kind of stuff. You got the Impact Growth Fund. Where is commercial real estate going to be in 3 years?
I'm very much of the opinion that we are either at the bottom or very, very close to the bottom. I mean, you don't take a 30% hit in valuations and then keep going down. At the end of the day, rents are still where they are. The only thing that would cause valuations to go down any further would be other interest rate hikes. The Fed tried to destroy American commercial real estate. They really, really tried. And I think we're pretty close to the bottom. We're seeing great deals on the market, just great deals on the market. And we're moving, we're raising capital. We have lots of our students doing deals now. And it's working. It's really, really working. So I'm excited about where we are now. In 3 years from now, all of us who are buying and investing in projects today are going to make a ton of money as the rest of the market catches up and is like, oh yeah, 2008 already happened. We're getting in 2012, which you can still make money in 2012 because the market continued to grow for the next 17 years, right? But today is 2009 right now, and it's a great time. That's why all these big guys or Blackstone, others, they're buying up stuff like crazy right now because you get it at a 30% discount. And yes, rates are high, but guess what? Rates are going to come back down.
You date the rate, you marry the property.
That's right.
Ken McElroy said that to me, and I remember it's, that's a good way. I think he said that to me when I got to buy him a $200 shot of tequila, I think, when I thanked him for his work. Like, all right, well, I gotta put that one on the business card, right? Right. And I love what you're saying, and I've noticed this too. It's really interesting. A couple years ago, I was at a syndication conference, and someone pulled me aside and said, "This is not the time to buy because this room is packed. This is not the time to buy." He's like, "In a couple years, this room is going to be bone dry, and that's when you want to buy." There's not like a lot of these syndication groups and stuff are hurting for people, but this is the time to buy. And it's so ironic because you're right. In 3 years, all those rooms are going to be packed with people who missed the bus.
Yep. That's
Interesting.
It. And it's interesting. I've seen some syndication deals come out where people are using kind of the same stuff that they were using 3 years ago, like some of the same assumptions. I'm like, that is wrong. And investors will send that to me like, hey, Sam, here's a deal. What do you think? I'm like, nope. Here's why. Those were the assumptions we were using 3 years ago. That's not the market now. Like rents are flattening out. A lot of places they're going down. You can't have this year over year 4 or 5, 6% projection of increase in rents. But what you can do is you can buy distressed property, and that could just be the debt is distressed all day long right now. You can buy those all the time. Death, divorce, and disease, 3 Ds of real estate have always applied, but now you've just got diseased debt or dying debt, and it's got to get changed hands. And so people are selling stuff at losses right now, and investors are losing a lot of capital because their syndicators that they invested with got short-term bridge loans that with variable rate debt. And if they're not a good lender, the lenders will not work with them. The lenders just want the property. And so good lenders will work with investors or with the owners and extend, and pretend and wait until a new regime takes office and eases the debt or the rates or something else happens. But yeah.
That's amazing. When you were thinking about or talking about underwriting, I was thinking of a few years ago underwriting a deal, thinking, Yeah, so rents are gonna go up 6%, rates are gonna stay below 4, and if anything goes wrong, the government's gonna bail us out. Well, none of those things are happening right now, right? Like, none of that is happening.
Yeah.
So it's gotta be way different, and now the balance sheets have flipped where the debt has become the asset in a lot of deals. If you can get that assumable 3.75 loan, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
I was telling people over and over again a couple years ago, I'm like, you watch all these 3% notes in a few years, that's what people are going to want. They're just that's going to be the hot ticket, buying, assuming a 3% agency loan. So we have lots of properties. Um, Out of the 20 something properties we had two that were on variable rate notes. One was with an institutional partner who said, Sam, like, there's no way in history, never rates have never gone over 2%. This deal cash flows, even if it goes up to 3%, really well. So we don't need to buy a rate cap. And it's going straight into HUD anyways. And sure enough, they are eating their words. I'm like, look,
Mm.
I know you went to Harvard, but I'm just a guy and I've been around and I've been doing this for a while. So I don't like that answer. And then the other one was just a year and a half debt. We tripled NOI, we doubled occupancy. We never anticipated the lender becoming insolvent
Mm.
in because of the rates. So that
Wow.
was, yeah, that's grit. You get grit from just experiences. But since we've done so many projects, we've had great successes, but we've also had great challenges. Like, what do you do when your lender goes belly up?
You figure it out, man.
You figure it out.
You figure it out, dude. You make some phone calls. Who, not
Yeah.
how. The answer I've found for me, and whenever I'm struggling in my business or life in general, has always been people.
Mhm.
If I try to figure it out on my own, whatever. Like, I get in my head and bad things happen. When I start talking to people about it, then the ideas start to go, you know? So, hey, I appreciate your time, Sam. We've got a little fire round here at the end. Is that okay?
Yeah. Did it.
Thanks so much, man. So, what was some advice that you've had in your life that you thought was excellent advice, but turned out to be a lie?
401k.
Oh, ooh, coming out swinging. I agree. I agree. My family is a set it and forget it family. Sometimes my mom still questions the legality of our business holdings because 401k, right? It's the way to go. It's the only way to go. I love that answer, man. What's
It
something
it
in your
takes
go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry. It takes on average 26 years to make $1 million in a 401k. I can help you do that in a few years in commercial real estate. So legally, ethically, can do you want to wait? You want to be on a 26-year plan, or do you want to be on like a 3-year plan or 5-year plan?
Mhm.
Like, come on.
Well, you said 3 weeks, Sam? 3 weeks?
Yeah,
Get that done by 4th of July?
yeah, yeah, no problem.
That sounds
Strike
good.
that from the record.
'Cause I
Yep,
just bought a
three.
pontoon just here as we were chatting. I bought a pontoon on Amazon.
Yeah,
What what
good.
what's something in your personal life that you're really proud of?
I would say my relationship with my wife and my kids. Um, Traveling so much around the world strained my family for sure, and our relationship just gets better and better as time goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, got a comment from your boy Travis here talking about 401k robbing 26 years. He's not even 26 years old. What does he know?
I think
Good to see you, Travis, man. That's
uh,
awesome.
love Travis.
What's something that you wish people knew about you?
Um, One of the biggest things I think people should know about me is that the reason I've got grit is because I've been through hell many times and have gone through it and come out the other side and just kept going.
Mm,
And so in real estate, you always think nothing bad can happen. It's a great operator, sponsor. No matter what, our money's are saved because at least we have the asset. Well, the thing is you see with like Tides Equity, lots of others, people losing tens, hundreds, millions of dollars of investor capital because they just let the properties go. They couldn't figure out how to save it. Uh, I have gone through hell to protect our investors and so forth. Like when a lender goes belly up, and all of a sudden you are like, "What do I do?" And here I am with this, thing. Like we do whatever it takes to find success and get through the battles to the other end. And so we're not ones to just give up the properties and walk away and say, "Forget it. You guys invested in something that you knew was risky. That's on you." Like, heck no. Like we're gonna keep going. We'll do whatever it takes.
Love that
So
answer. Love that answer, Sam. Next one. What pisses you off?
talking bobbleheads, convincing people to do stocks and bonds and other things on this stupid long retirement plan that ends up providing almost nothing for the vast majority of people who invest. But because these guys get paid for the transaction, they're going to talk about it all day, every day, because they get paid to tell you to invest in a stock or bond or something else like that. That's one thing that really makes me mad. Other thing that makes me mad is um, there's a lot of folks out there who are peddling deals, but they don't have the fortitude um, to go the distance.
Hmm. Quitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. All right, last question. When we're talking at this time next year, Sam, what's something you are going to have accomplished between now and then?
We're going to finish raising our first impact fund. We're going to deliver incredible um, statistics on the impact we've done. We've always done impact. We just haven't always measured it. And so this time we are measuring it. And we have John Weisskopf, who former Apple exec, who's helping us get the numbers, the data organized and shared so that we can prove to the world that you can create impact and make a lot of money in the process. The project, we expect about 3x total value of the property in about 2 to 3 years. And that's just one of the properties in the fund. We'll do it again on the second property in the fund when it comes to it. What I want to, this has been my mission for a long time, was go out there and prove it first and then take it to the world and hopefully have a ton of people copy us. Imitation's the best form of flattery. So I want a lot of people to just copy us and go out there and change a ton of lives. I cannot do all of it by myself, nor can my company, nor could you and I together, Chris. We need other people to start paying attention to the way we invest our time and our money. And if we want to make America great, or if we want to make America better, sorry, I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just saying if we want to make America better and you're complaining about how it is, then go out and make a difference. Do something, take action. And so I
Love
want to
that.
prove that you can do it. And that's the whole objective. We're also working with the Multifamily Impact Council because they had a framework for how to measure impact. And we think it should be different because they're educators and we're doers. And so
Mm.
we are taking their framework plus our framework, which we've used for years, pushing those together and hopefully help produce some policy for how impact is measured and whereby we can measure others and see if they're actually doing the things that they're supposed to be doing.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, because how are you going to learn how to surf? From someone on YouTube or by renting a surfboard with some dude who's just slamming a burrito and then you go surfing with that guy.
Yeah,
He's going to
that's it.
know a whole lot more. And in this
Yeah,
analogy, Sam, you're the burrito loving surfer dude. So
I love
congrats.
burritos, man. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Hey, and you got a fan. Uh Miss Foster is canceling her 401k and calling you. That's awesome.
Let's go. Let's
Let's do
go.
it. Hey, who should reach out to you, Sam?
Yeah, so if you're somebody who wants to make a difference in the world through the way that you invest your money and you want to help people, by all means, would love to talk to you about it, and see if the deals that we're doing are right for you, or happy to make recommendations. There are not very many syndicators out there who pay attention to this type of thing. uh, Chris, you're one of the very few. John Weisskopf is another one. That's why we all work together. But um, I would love to talk to you and share with you some things about that. If you're somebody trying to get into syndication and you want to create your own company and you also care about humans, and we would love to talk to you. It could be because what we do is we do an educational component. We also do pods where we break down and we're like, okay, bro or sis, what are you doing? And what are your goals? Okay, let's do this and do that and get into a deal and let's make money and let's make a difference, because the only way we're ever going to change anybody else's lives is to go out there and do it. Chris, if you wouldn't have done that first thing with us, you wouldn't have gotten to your second, and you wouldn't be helping people fix their brains so that we can make it through the depression, the struggles, the doubts, the all of that stuff. So if you're somebody who wants to make a difference in the world in the way that we invest, you want to get out of your 401k death spiral that you can't even access until you're dead. Hopefully, I think that's what the whole plan was, is hoping that everybody would just be dead and they can't get into the 401k. And you want to do something that actually creates cash flow and enables you to gain freedom. By the way, freedom is only obtained through cash flow, not through equity. Chris may be worth $100 million, but because he can't get to his capital because it's all tied up in deals, he can't pay for that burrito, because burritos don't. I mean, nobody takes equity; they want cash, cold hard cash. So you need cash flow to pay your bills, and that's what creates freedom in the life that you want. So happy to talk to either of those people. The objective here is that I just want to help you improve and grow and achieve the life of your dreams.
Love it, Sam. Love you, man. And I love the impact that you're doing and the just humans first. I think that's so cool. Burritos second. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I do have 100 million bucks, but no burritos right now. Or actually, uh, my attorney is saying I can't confirm nor deny ownership of anything. So, Sam,
Yeah.
you're a legend, man. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
Chris, man, anytime. As you know, I always love talking with you, and we've had a lot of really good laughs, and I definitely have not cried. So I'll just keep that to myself because men don't cry.
No, you
But
never have. No one's ever seen you do that, Sam.
no, never. But uh, what we do is emotional, right? Our lives are emotional,
Mm.
um, and that's fine. We should do things with our emotions and with our logic, brains working together, and that stuff comes from the heart, and we should just do it. So, thank you, Chris, man. Absolute pleasure. Happy to assist any way that I ever can. You know it.
All right, right on. Take me on a helicopter with no doors. Okay. See you next week, everybody.
Let's do it.
Take care.